Good morning, everyone. Today we are going to start one of the major and the most important service in AWS that is called EC2. So I'll share my screen. Yes. Okay. So AWS EC2. EC2 stands for Elastic Cloud Computing. So this is one of the major service in AWS environment. So most of the people who are using AWS, that means like 75% of the people or the clients who are using AWS. So they will be using EC2 for sure. Okay, because this is one of the powerful service which AWS is offering. Okay, so we'll see. First of all, we'll see some important points of AWS. So it will be something like a theory part. So you need to understand. First of all, you need to understand some of the important points like what is EC2, how EC2 works, and what are the different parameters of EC2, what are the different categories that are in EC2. You need to understand it, so that will make you a little bit easy for you when we go to the hands-on session. Okay, please be patiently see like what is EC2. So we'll also do a hands-on part on EC2 today. Okay, so what is EC2? EC2 is one of the most popular service of AWS, which is offering by AWS. So EC2 stands for Elastic Compute Cloud. Okay, so then will be also called as cloud computing also. So EC2 means there are two C's here, so that's why I'm calling as EC2. Either it is called Elastic Compute Cloud or Elastic Cloud Computing. Okay, so and this is a infrastructure as a service. Okay, type of service which is offered by AWS. So in the beginning, we have seen AWS is offering three categories of services. One is platform as a service, and infrastructure as a service, and software as a service. Okay, this EC2 comes under infrastructure as a service because AWS is maintaining all the infrastructure which is belonging to this EC2 service, and they are providing us as a service to us in AWS console. Okay, so the backend infrastructure which is maintained and which is used to run this elastic cloud computing, okay, so is maintained by AWS, and they are just offering it as a service in AWS console. So it is a infrastructure as a service, and it mainly consists in the capability of. So one thing is, so it has a renting virtual mission. So virtual missions are a virtual server, so which we are mostly using it in EC2. So it is providing, the EC2 service is providing, okay, rental virtual mission. So the rental means we are getting these virtual missions, okay, in a rental basis for each hour. Okay, we'll pay the rent for each virtual missions per hour. Okay, and the second thing is storing data on virtual drives. So we have EBS, so elastic block storage. So what we'll do is we'll store our data in this virtual drives and distributing load across missions. So we are using this elastic load balancers, so ELB. So what they will do is they will distribute the load which we are getting to our servers across different virtual missions. Okay, so they will be handling this elastic load balancer will be handling the load, and they are being distributing to the servers which we are using. Okay, scaling the services using auto scaling groups. So ASG stands for auto scaling groups. So if you want to scale our particular environment or particular virtual missions, we can do this using auto scaling group. So we will be seeing about all this in detail in our coming classes. So knowing the EC2 fundamentals to understand how the cloud works. So you need to understand EC2 fundamentals to understand like how the cloud computing actually works. Okay, so we are going to see all this particular each service, sub-services in EC2 in our coming classes. We'll do a particular hands-on on all these, okay, services. So EC2 sizing and configuration options. Okay. So what an EC2 instance consists of? Okay. So we are saying EC2 has a virtual missions, right? So what is EC2 and what is the sizing and the configuration options that we can get in EC2? So we are saying that EC2 is a virtual mission. So what are the different types of virtual missions and what are the different sizing is available and what are the different configurations that we have that in EC2. So first thing is operating system. So we have Linux, Windows, and even Mac OS virtual machines. Okay, so operating system virtual machines that is available in EC2. So based on which parameters we need to take a EC2 instance. So first we need to select a operating system. Then we need to select the CPU. So how many cores of CPU you needed. Okay, so we need to select the CPU. Then we need to select how much RAM we need to our virtual server. So okay, then we need to select how much storage space that we need to a virtual server. This is something like uh, an assembling PC. So when you buy an assembled PC, so what we'll do is first we need to select the CPU, then we'll select the RAM, then we'll select how much storage you need to need. So in the storage also we have the network attached storage, so that is EBS and EFS, and we have a hardware, so EC2 instant store. Okay, so we have a hard disk or the storage space we need to select, and the network card. So this network card depends on like speed of the card, and there is some public IPs to access this particular virtual missions. Okay, and we need to select the firewalls. So that is the security group. The firewalls are something which allows or denies the particular traffic into your server. Okay, so they act as a security firewalls for your server so that no other people or no other access can be gone through your EC2 instance. So you can block the accessing of, or you can block the inbound or the outbound traffic that is being going into your server based on the security groups. So we'll be seeing all this in a hands-on session also. And there is a bootstrap script. So this bootstrap script is something which runs on the first launch of this EC2 instance or EC2 server. Okay, so these bootstrap scripts are useful to uh, run some scripts on the first launch of EC2 instance, and these are called EC2 user data. Okay, so this is something you need to consider. Okay, so these are all the parameters which you need to take into consideration while creating a new EC2 instance. So this is something like we are creating a new, or we are buying, when you buy a new assembled PC, you go through all these options, right? You need this operating system, you need this CPU, so that maybe i3 or i5 or i7 or something. You need like 8 GB or 16 GB RAMs. You need like 1 TB or 500 GB of hard disk, and if you are using it for any network, you can use it, you need this networking card. Okay, so all this is something which is like a configuration for your server. Okay, so what is EC2 user data? Here we have seen the bootstrap scripts, okay, that are being configured in the first launch of a server using EC2 user data. So EC2 user data is, it is possible to bootstrap our instance using EC2 user data scripts. Okay, so bootstrap script means launching commands when the mission starts. Okay, this scripts only runs once the instance starts for the first time only. So whenever, so it will not start every time when you restart your server. So whenever you launch a new server, so then only this bootstrap script will be running. So if you start a server, then this will run the bootstrap script, and if you stop and start the server, then it won't run. So it only runs once at the instance first start. Okay, so EC2 user data is to automate boot tasks such as, so when you want to install updates, installing softwares, downloading common files from the internet, and anything you can do in the bootstrap scripts. Okay, so the EC2 user data scripts run with the root user only. Okay, So you don't need to. I think so. If you have any idea, basic idea about Linux, you will be seeing that. So if you don't have also, it's not a problem. So in Linux, we have different types of two types of users. One is the root user and one is the user. Okay, root user is something who has all the permissions, and he can create another users. So similarly, while we are what we are doing in AWS, so we are creating a root account, and from the root account, we are creating all the other users. Similarly, in Linux also, so whenever you create a operating system, you have a root user. From the root user, you can create multiple sub users who can access that server. Okay, so when you run some user data scripts or the bootstrap scripts in EC2, so those will be running with the root username so that it have access of all the permissions in that server. Okay, so server and instance. So while I'm saying this server and instance, so those both are same. So while coming to EC2, we are calling each server as a instance. So keep in mind that. So if I'm saying anything like instance, okay, so that is referring to a server. So in EC2, we are calling each server, okay, each EC2 server as an instance. Okay, so we'll see in the hands-on part, so how to launch an EC2 instance, and that will be running a Linux server. Okay, and we'll be launching our first virtual server using AWS console, management console. We'll get our first high-level approach to various parameters. We'll see that our web server is launched and running EC2 user data, so which we have seen in the previous slide. We'll learn how to start, stop, and terminate our instances. So instance means, again I'm saying, each instance is each server. Okay, so we'll go to the hands-on part on what is and how we'll use this EC2 instance. So I'm opening this. I'm opening my browser. So I'll go to console.amazon.com. So I am logging as a root user now. So I'm logging as a root user. So this is very like important and interesting service in AWS. So this is like widely used for like every type of industries and every type of company, they will be using this. Okay, so when you go to, you want to go to, like, you can search EC2. So here when you click on this EC2 service, so this is the dashboard that you are getting. So these are all the sub services which are in the AWS. So we'll be seeing this based on our classes, like we'll be going through one by one. So here, see here, instances. So this instances means, as I said, instances, each instance is a server. And if you go here, so you can see, so we can select some regions. So this EC2 instance is region specific. That means if you are running some 5 instances in Mumbai region, so if you switch to Virginia US East region, so again, so here you will see 0 instances, because the EC2 instance and all the parameters, all the subservices in the EC2 are region specific. So if you create a server in like AWS Mumbai, you won't be able to see that in, okay, US East region. Okay, so if you want to, sometimes like when you open the EC2, you won't be able to see your instances here. So what happens is, like, you will be in a different region. So you need to switch back to your region where you have created that particular EC2 instances and all these services. Okay, so you need to understand AWS EC2 is a region specific service. Okay, so here I'll go to my instances. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll first launch a instance and see how it will be running and how to launch an instance. So to launch an instance, so we'll click on launch instance. Okay, so here I'll give the name of my, so it's asking for your uh, instance name. So here I'll give my first, you can give spaces also here, first EC2 instance. Okay, so coming to the next part, here you can see we have different types of operating systems that are free available in AWS. So you can select an operating system and this is called AMI. So AMI stands for Amazon Mission Images. Okay, so we'll see, and we can also create our own mission AMIs. So we'll see that in the latter part. For now, so we'll select a Amazon Linux, okay, operating system, and here you can see there are different types of, okay, configurations and that are available. Okay, so here you can see like each family or each configurations have. So here these are different types of operating system that are available in AWS. So among this operating system, we have different types of other versions also. Okay, so here we'll have an option C, free tier eligible. So these particular operating systems are eligible for free tier and they won't cost us much. So we'll be selecting this. So here I'm using AWS Linux. Okay, so and architecture is 64-bit, and this is the Amazon Mission Image ID, and this is eligible for free tier. So I won't get charged, so it won't charge me anything running this server. So we will be getting 750 hours like of EC2 instance we can use freely. Okay, we can use an EC2 instance freely for 750 hours. So I am selecting this free tier eligible operating system. And when you come down here, so here we have the major part called instance types. So here we have different types of instance types. Here we have different types of instance types. So instance types means they are having different types of configurations in EC2 instances. So each instance configuration have a specific RAM size, a specific CPU, and they have different costing as well. So based on our requirement, we can choose a instance. So if you are running a big project like a big, if you want a big server for gaming or for image processing or something, you can opt for a big server which has like 128 GB of RAM or something. So if you are running a small website, so which is a tiny website, you can go with a 2 GB RAM server also. So they have a lot of options. See, all these are servers which are being, okay, available in EC2. So each server has a family. So we'll be going to discuss about this in later, like in clearly, like in depth. We'll go with all this. For now, we'll select a server or instance which is free tier eligible. So here we have a instance type called T2 micro. Okay, so it is a free tier eligible service. So if you see here, it has a 1 GB of RAM, and so here it has a different costing as well. So, so we'll see this later. So first I'll select this type of instance. Okay, so if you want to compare instance, you can click here and see. So what are the different other, okay, type of servers that are available. Here we have different sizes of RAMs. Okay, so see here, like it has that if you see like 2048 GB of RAM is available. Okay, so there are like pretty much huge servers that are available in AWS. Okay, so here I am selecting AWS Linux operating system, and here I am selecting my T2 micro type of instance, and this key pair. So key pair is something that we use to log in, okay, to our server using this key pair. So we'll be creating a key pair. So see, now there are no key pairs available here. So I'll create a new key pair. So here I'm creating my EC2 key pair key, and here we are using RSA encryption. And so here there are two types of key files which are available. One is .pem and .ppk. So if you are using Linux or Mac OS or anything above Windows 10 and above, you can select this PEM. Okay, so if you are using any uh, like operating system which is below Windows 10, so you can download this PPK. So and we'll use this particular software called Putty to log in into the server, or we can also log in from the AWS console also. So if you want to connect it from your local system using an other third-party software, you can use these keys and you can log in into your server. So for now, I'm keeping this as PEM, okay, and I'll create a key pair. So once I created a key pair, so I'll get this downloaded. So this keep this safe, okay, because like in future we'll be using this, and you need to keep it safe at some place in your system. Okay, so here we will go into this network configuration setting. So we'll keep this as usual. We'll leave this as usual for now. So here there are something called firewalls or security groups. Okay, so the security groups are something which allows or denies the inbound or the outbound traffic. So that is being accessing to the server or from the server. Okay, so if you want to uh, access or if you want to connect to a server, so there are some ports that need to be allowed, so that through that port only we can connect to that, okay, server. So if you want to connect to that server through a command line or a so a putty or something, there is a port called SSH, so this need to be allowed. Okay, so if you want to run a web server in a HTTP web server, then the HTTP port means that HTTP port number is 80. So that HTTP port also need to be allowed. So here we'll for now we are selecting these two security groups. That means I'm electing allowing port SSH port and HTTP port to this server, and we are creating a new server group. So we'll also see about the security groups in details. Okay. For now, understand like firewalls are something and security groups are something which allows or denies the inbound or the outbound traffic to your EC2 instance. So it acts as a security for your EC2 instance, that that means like no other people can get into your particular EC2 instance. So you can block their access getting into that server. Okay, so if you have an existing one, you can select it from here. So as we are creating it new, so we are creating a new security group that allows SSH and HTTP traffic for the instance which you are creating. Okay, so and if you come here, here we have the storage related options. So here we can like add any number of, okay, storage drives. So these are something like a hard drives for our server. So for now I am keeping 8 GB is enough for my, so 8 GB particular volume I am adding to it. And if you go to this advanced details, so here there are pretty more like options. We'll see about all this later. So here we have this user data. Okay. So what this user data is, so if you write any comments here, that means a Linux comments or any Linux script or something. So whenever you launch this particular instance for the first time, so it will run all these commands and it will configure all this or run all these commands in that server. So mostly what we will do in the Bootstrap script is, so we will keep some, if you want to, whenever you launch a new EC2 or instance or a server, if you want to update it to the latest versions, if you want to install some predefined softwares in it, and if you want to create some folders in a particular path, so we'll use this. So we can also do this, okay, while entering into the server, but why these options they have given is, so in the real time they will be creating like more than 10 servers at a time. There will be some use cases where they will create 10 to 15 servers at a time, and all these 15 servers must be identical, and they need to be we need to do some configuration in that servers. So if you create that 15 servers, so if you don't use this user data, what we should do is we need to log in into each server and we need to run those commands, okay, one by one. So that means if you create 15 servers, so you need to log in into 15 servers, okay, 15 times you need to log in into each servers, and 15 times you need to do all these operations in each server. Okay, so if the operations is same, what we can do is we can keep that comments in this particular user data or the Bootstrap script, and when you if you want to create 15 instances instead of one, if you give 15 here, okay, so it will launch 15 instances with the same configuration which you have given, and it will run this particular script, okay, which you have given here in all these 15 instances, and it will make all these 15 identical. Okay, so that is the main reason why they'll use this user data. So now what I will do is I have kept a small script here. So what to do is, so I'll explain what this is. I'll copy it there. We'll go to our browser, I'll paste it here. So what I'm doing is I'm writing, so anything which is starts with hash is a comment. So this is a small Linux script. Okay, so what this will do is, first of all, yum update y, that means like it will update the operating system. So anything that starts with yum is yum install is something like an npm install, which we have seen in Node.js. So it will install, okay, or uninstall the particular services. So yum is used to update or install the software in Linux. So mostly in Amazon Linux and CentOS we'll use yum. Okay. So first command is yum update. -y means like it is a S. So if you give this, what it will is, it will update the operating system which we are using now. And after that, it will install a HTTP server. So this is a web server, okay, so which will be running our websites. Okay, then it will start that HTTP service which it have installed, and it will enable all the HTTP related services. Okay, and we are creating a small HTML page, okay, in this particular path where www.html. In that particular path, we are creating an index.html page, and we are putting this particular code. So hello world from this hostname. Hostname is something which prints the host name of that server. Okay, and we are putting this code in this particular path. Okay, so we have given all this configuration, and here we can see the summary. So how many number of instances we want to launch. So here for now we are launching only one instance. And what is the software IMI? So that means the operating system which we are using is Amazon Linux. Another thing, so what is the type of server which you are using? That is T2 Micro. And we are creating a new security group, and we have attached one storage volume, so that is of 8 GB. So here it is giving free trial. In your first year includes 750 hours of T2 Micro. Okay, so it is giving 750 hours free for this T2 Micro instance as a part of this free trial. And in some regions there is no T2 Micro options, so instances. So there we can select T3 Micro. So wherever the T2 Micro is unavailable. Okay, so all these instances are allowed to use for free trial. Okay, and so now all our configuration is done. So we'll click on launch instance and launch our first EC2 instance. So I'm clicking here. That's it. See, so we have started our new instance. We can use it. So this is how we'll launch an instance in EC2. And here we have instance, and it will like it is setting up. So if you want to create this server in your same a physical server, and if you want to do it, there will be a lot of, okay, so setup that you need to do. First you need to have a room for it, then you need to put some hardware, you need to put some connections, wired connections, and you need to attach a system to connect to that computer. So you need to do a lot of things if you want to create this server in your in-house. So while coming to AWS, you can launch any instance within minutes or within seconds. You can launch an instance. That may be either, you can see like 512 GB RAM servers also. You can launch it within minutes. So that is the power of AWS EC2. Okay, so here my instance got into running state. So here we'll see like a few things which we have got here. So this is our instance name, and here each instance has got a, okay, ID. So unique ID. So that is being generated by AWS. Okay, and this is of type T2 Micro family. And here it was created in AP South 1A availability zone. So we have created a server in this AWS Mumbai. So it is of AP South 1. In AP South 1, it was created in A means the availability zone. So if we have three availability zones, we have seen it will be like A South A1, South A2, South 1A, South 1B, and South 1C. Okay, so this is created in 1A availability zone, and it has a public DNS and it has a public IP. Here we'll see this is the key file that the instance is using, and this is the security group name. So if you want to see some brief options about this, you can click this. So when you check this, you will get all the information about this particular instance here. So this is the instance ID, public IP, this is the private IP. So what is public IP and private IP? So public IP is something which we can use to access the server over the internet. Okay, so there are two types of IPs here. So one is the public IP, means you can use this public IP. That means this particular instance is available in internet, over internet, so that you can connect it over internet with this particular IP. This is an unique IP for your particular EC2 instance. So this private IP is an internal IP where the AWS is like internally handling this particular instance. So this with this private IP, you cannot connect to this through internet, but using this private IP, you can communicate across the different servers which you create in your AWS instances. Okay, so if I have any other three instances, I can connect to that instances within those instances using this private IP, because as these are like internally connected, and this will be fast when you compare to this particular IP, because this is connecting over internet. Okay, so just understand what is private IP is. So we'll be seeing about all this one by one in our coming classes also. Okay, so here we have something like a host name. Okay, the host name for your particular EC2 instance. Okay, this host name consists of the private IP in it and the particular region. Okay, and a compute internal name. So this is private DNS, and we have something like what is the instance type. So what is the public IP, and here if you go down, we can see what is the operating system that we are using, what is the AMI that we have selected while creating this. Okay, and what is the key file we are using. And here if you go down, you can see the security groups also. So here if you click on this security, here we can see what is the security group that is being used for this particular instance. So in that security group, we have two ports which are being allowed. So 22 port and port 80. So this is SSH port and this is HTTP port. So these two ports are being allowed. So for this particular instance, and outbound, we are allowing all ports. So we'll see about the security groups also. And we have this networking tab where we see all the IP related here, and we have a storage thing. So here we have seen we have created 8 GB storage. Okay, and a volume is also created. And if you go to status check, so there is some status checks here. So the status check, this both status checks are running. So if you have any instance related issue, if there is any connector related issue, if you are unable to connect to your EC2 instance, then you can go to this particular status and you can see, so if there is any failures in this. And you can also monitor like what is the CPI utilization over a particular period of time, and what is the network related status, and all the monitoring if we can see in this monitoring part. Okay, so what we'll do is, so we have created our first EC2 instance. So how to access this? So first what I'll do is I'll copy this public IP and I'll paste it in my browser. So here see, here my web server got installed and my HTTP server is installed, and here we are running a public website. So because while creating our particular instance, we have run this script. So what this script had done is it had installed a web server and it has kept a HTML file which contains this hello world from hostname. So it has created a HTML file and it is already kept in that web server. So whenever you access your server with your IP, and it is running on port 80. So it is connected to the web server and it is printing this particular, okay, IPs here. Okay, so here we have some other options. See, so if I select this, if I want to stop this server, okay, so these servers which we are using, they will be charged per hour. Okay, so per hour, so they will be have a particular amount, and they will be charged based on the hourly rental. So whenever you are using these instances, you can keep it running and it will be charged. So if you don't want to use this server, so you want the server, but as of now, you are not using this. So either something like you want to hold your website for some days or some months. So what you can do is you can go to this and you can stop these instances. So for now, what I'll do is I'll stop this instance. So what will be happening is, so see, it is stopping. So whenever the server went into a stopped state, so then you won't be charged for this particular instance. So you will be charged only for the running time of any instance. So you can create any number of instances. Okay, if the instance is stopped, you won't be charged for that. So whenever you are using it and whenever the instance is in running state only, will be charged for it. So this will save us a lot of money. So if you have procured a in-house setup, right? So in the initially, like someone asked me, so why they are using other cloud services instead of using this particular in-house servers. So this is one thing. So they can maintain the servers virtually. So there is no need of keeping any physical equipment, or you no need to bother about the infrastructure related issues. So you can just go to a launch instance and you can select your instance and you can run it and you can use it. So you don't need to worry about all the infrastructure related, all the power related things, or the wiring related, or the network related things. You don't need to worry about all the physical things. So those infrastructure is completely handled by Amazon AWS. Okay, so that's why EC2 is called a infrastructure as a service, because they are, okay, maintaining all the infrastructures and they are giving it as a EC2 service for us, and we are using these EC2 instances. So here now see my instance is stopped. So if I hit here, if I run this again, see, so it is not opening, it's still loading. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll again start this server. We'll start this server again. So again it is starting. So that it is starting. We can click on refresh here if it is not getting refreshed. So now see here. So whenever we stopped our instance here, the public IP which is assigned to this instance is removed. Okay, but the private IP which is, okay, the private IP remain same. And here when we restarted our particular instance, the public IP was changed. So you need to note this. So whenever you start or stop an instance, so you will have a new public IP. So this is my old public IP, and if I am still using this, see, so I am not able to access my website here. Okay, so if I use this new IP, see, now I'm able to connect to my web server and I can see my web page. So this is our old IP which was like lost when we restarted our server. Okay, so you need to understand this point. So whenever you restart your instance, okay, so it will generate a new public IP, but the private IP, which is an internal IP, this remains same for all instances. Okay, so this remains same for the instances and the public IP will be changed. So there is also a way to keep it static. We'll see that in our coming classes. So we'll be using this elastic IPs. So then we'll see what is this. So before that, what we'll do is we'll go to this security and we will see, and we'll go through one by one. So here when we created a security group, So here we have an option called security groups, and we got a security group. So these are the default security group that is created by Amazon, and this is our security group that is created. And while creating this particular instance, we have also created a volume. So here we have that volume of 8 GB. Okay, so it is in use and it is connected to this particular instance. So you can see it is connected to this particular instance. And if you go to key pairs here, so here the key pair which we have created, okay, so we can see that here. Okay, and so these are all the things which we are used to create while we used to create an instance. So instead of creating one by one, so instead of creating a prepare, instead of creating the security group one by one, so while creating the instance only, they have given us a wizard. So you go with this wizard and you can select all the options which you need. If you want a new one, it will create a new security group in the security groups tab. If you want a new key pair, it will create a new key pair in the security group tab. So if you want to select the existing one, you can select this. So while creating a server only, if you want to create any new instance types or any new security groups, you can give it here. And while launching the servers only, it will automatically, okay, give that particular, okay, keep all that, create all those particular volumes and key pairs and security groups in our EC2, okay, services. So you don't need to create it one by one. So if you want to create it also, you can create it to use it for a different purpose. But while launching, if you want to create a new thing, you can just select it and it will create for us. So those will be created for us. Okay. So this is how, this is like what is EC2 instance and how we launch a EC2 instance. Okay. So coming to the our slides part. So we have seen, okay, how to create a EC2 instance in a real time. Okay, and we have also seen how to start or terminate our instances. Okay, so we'll see what is a terminate here. So terminate is something which will completely remove my EC2 instance. Okay, so next we'll see. So now we'll see an overview of what are instance types. So you can see different types of instance types that are optimized for the different use cases. So if you open AWS instance types, so I'll go to this. So here before that we'll see this. So each instance type have a particular name or a unique name for this. So these are the different types of, okay, instance types. Okay, so they are general purpose, compute, memory optimized, accelerated, storage. Okay, we'll see about this one by one in the coming slides. So each instance type will have a unique keyword or a notations here. So in this, the starting M stands for the instance class. So the starting M, so the starting letter M or X or C, there will be different type of instance classes based on this is alphabet in the starting. So this M indicates instance class. Then the number after that indicates the generation. Okay. So if we have multiple generations here. So whenever, like every year, the AWS team, they are upgrading their servers and are really releasing the new generation hardware or something. So today, as of now, this is M5, and next year if they have launched some other instance with a new hardware or optimized hardware, they will call it as M6. Okay, that means the sixth is the sixth generation version, which is somewhat like optimized from the fifth generation. So the letter after this instance class represents the generation of that particular EC2 family, EC2 instance type. And after that, the part which is you see after this dot, okay, it indicates the size of the instance. Okay, so based on the configuration, so we will have a small, large, 1x large, 2x large, 4x large, 8x large. So we have different types of sizes within the same instance class and same generation. So either if you have a small 2 GB server, it will be something like a M5 small. So if you have a 16 GB or 32 GB RAM server, so it will be M5 2x large. If you have like 64 above or 128 GB RAM, those will be like 4x large. So based on the configuration of this particular instances, so this sizing will label will be changed. So this is just to identify the particular instance type. Okay, and going to the next one. So here we have different types of okay service instance type, right? So first thing is general purpose. Okay, so it is great for diversity workload such as web servers and code repositories. Okay, so these instances have balance between compute, memory, and networking. Okay, in this course we'll be using T2 microservices, micro instances, so which we have just created the instance, and this is a general purpose instance. Okay, this will be mainly useful for the websites where they have equal computing power and equal memory and networking power. So all these particular three parameters will be equal. Okay, and the other thing is compute optimized. So the name itself says it has a high computing power. Okay, so great for the compute intensive tasks that requires high performance processing. For the task which there is a need of high CPUs and high computing power, we will use this compute optimized instances. So these will be mostly used for batch processing workloads and media transcoding. So media transcoding is something if you uh, doing any live streaming or something, so it need to get that video footage and video stream, and you need to transcode it. So the video streaming needs a lot of computing optimization. So it is used for media transcoding and high performance web servers and high performance computing, scientific modeling and machine learning. So machine learning also needs high CPU optimization and the dedicated gaming services. And for this dedicated gaming service also we'll use this compute optimized instances. Okay, so this compute optimized by default starts with C here. So you can see different types of servers here: C6, CS, CS, C5A, and C5 and C4. So this C4 is for fourth generation, C5 are fifth generation, and C6 are sixth generation computing type of EC2 instances. Okay, so and other thing we have is memory optimized instances. So this memory optimized services here start with R or X1. Okay, so these are used for the fast performance workloads that process large data sets of memory. So if you are trying to deal with any data sets or any files, and if you want to read those files and you want to process your code on those particular files, you need a lot of memory. So at that point of time, we'll use this memory optimized services. They have huge memory optimized performance. So this will be highly used in high performance relational and non-relational databases, distributed web scale cache stores. So in-memory database optimization for business intelligence, application performance, real-time processing of big and unstructured data. So within these use cases, for these use cases, we are using this memory optimized instances. Okay, so these are some use cases so that you can pick a right one. Okay, for your based on your particular use case, you can select any type of servers. And here we have one more thing, storage optimized, and this is great for the storage intensive tasks that require high sequential read and write access to large data sets in a local storage. And the use cases is they are used for high frequency online transactions and relational non-relational databases. So relational and non-relational databases, we'll see what are those. And cache in like in-memory databases like Redis, and data warehouse applications and distributed file systems. So these data warehouse applications are something which will be storing all the data. So they need lot of storage spaces to create this data warehouse. So for this type of use cases, we'll be using this storage optimized related in situ type of instances. Okay, so here we'll see. So these are the examples of different types of instances. So this is a T2 micro, so which is a general purpose, okay, which is a general purpose instances. And here we have different types of configurations for each instance. So if it is a T2 micro, it has 1 GB of RAM and 1 core CPU, and it has only EBS storage available. So the network performance will be like low to moderate. So it will be a least server in the AWS instance. Similarly, we have this C5D4X large, which have 16 core CPU and 32 GB RAM, which is a compute. Okay, this is a compute optimized instance. That way, it has a large core of CPUs here, and we have a storage of one 400 NVMe SSD. So this is one of the M2 SSDs, which is very fast, and we will get one SSD, and we'll get a network performance up to 10 GB per second. And there's a website here which is EC2 instance info. So if you open this, uh, so here you will get the information of all the EC2 services, all the EC2 instances. So clearly, so if you go to this website here, so see here we have all the instances that are available in AWS. So here you can sort it using a region if you want to see what are the available EC2 instances in like Hyderabad region. So if you want to see like based on the performance and so cost and result. So there are three types. So we'll see that in the coming classes also. There are three types of rental programs. So one is like on demand where you will pay for each hour where you are using this, and the other thing is you can pay it for a upfront resort for 1 year. Okay, so if you pay it for 1 year and you know that you will definitely run this server for 1 year, if you take it as a reserved instance for 1 year, then you will get it for a low cost when compared to the on-demand prices. So we'll see that also. Here we'll see the on-demand cost. So if you take this particular server T4G Nano on-demand, you will get it for $0.0028. And if you take it on a reserved basis, okay, then you will be getting for 0.0018 per hour. Okay, so that is the difference between on-demand and resort. So if you take it for resort for 1 year, and if you take it the resort for 3 years also, you will get it even cheaper than this price. So this particular page, okay, it has all the information regarding the EC2 EC2 instances, and what is the each type of instance, what is the particular RAM size, what are the CPU configuration, okay, what is the storage if you are getting anything. So you'll have a clear idea on all this. You'll get a clear idea on all this. So if you want to select anything, so I'll select any particular family. So here I have something like C6G extra large. So this is the code. This is the C60. This is the sixth generation extra large server which have 8 GB RAM and 4 core CPU. So if you want to know more about this, if I click on this, so I'll get the detailed information about what is the CPU architecture it is using, okay, and what is the number of cores, 4 core CPU, and it have 8 GB of RAM, and there is what are the other particular servers which is available in the C6G family. So here you can see, we'll see all the information about each EC2 instance configuration. You can see the pricing details also. If you take it for a on demand, you will get it for this price, and if you take it for reserved instance for 1 year, you'll get it for this price, and if you take it for 3 years reserved, you'll get even cheaper. Okay, so what are the operating system that is available here? So what is the regions? You can select a region, okay, and you can see all the configurations here. And so this is one of the websites which I mostly use while creating EC2 instance. If I want to create any EC2 instance, and based on the configuration, I'll come to this website and I'll check the EC2 instances here and check the costings here. And based on the costings and based on this particular configuration, we will pick a particular family this particular instance, and we'll choose this instance while creating a EC2 instance in our EC2 management console. So instead of checking here, so it is easy to check all the details in this website. Okay, so coming back to our slide. So these are different types of servers. So we will be using T2 Micro as a part of free type because it is free for 750 hours. And coming to the security groups. So we'll be covering about the security groups tomorrow because this is a huge topic and we also need to go hands-on for this. So we'll go with these security groups and one more topic tomorrow in EC2. And as I said, EC2 is a vast concept. So, and it is also one of the important concept. So for now, like understand what is EC2, try to create an EC2 instance by your own and try to check each and every options. Okay, so after creating instance, select the instance and see each and every options in this particular thing. And if you want to go to each of this particular sub-service, you can also go to this service and you can explore. Only thing is, let's don't create anything because this key pairs may charge you something, not much, but very little. And this security groups all, and whenever you create an instance, and after creating instance, don't forget to stop this instance when you are not using it because it will be counting in our 750 hours of the free type, and after the 750 hours, it will be charging us. So as we have a little time, I'll show you like how the billing dashboard will be. So here we have a billing dashboard here. Okay, so if you click on this billing dashboard, so you will see how and we are being charged for this. There's a billing dashboard here. Okay, so here we'll see what are the different services which are actively using in this account. Okay, so in this particular region, what are the services we are using? Okay, and if you go to bills here, okay, so if there is any charging that is chargeable or any service is charging you, then you will be able to see here. Okay, so and you can also create some budgets here. So if you want to create a budget here, you can click on the budget here, and if you create a budget, so this budget will help us to put a limit to our EC2 instance services to like we can select a budget. So if you here we have a default templates where you can select it, and if I want to go with a zero spend budget, so that means I don't want to spend any money on this particular EC2 instance. I just want to use the free tier account. Then you can keep this zero spend budget, and you can specify your emails here. So whenever if you are costing anything, you'll by default you will get the mails to your particular emails. Okay, when you create this budget, or if you want to create a monthly budget. So if I want to create a monthly budget, and if I'll say I don't want to exceed more than $10, okay, for my each month. So what it will do is, whenever you created this, if your particular either services are charging you and your particular it is crossing, whenever it crossed 80% of your budget, that means like if it crossed $8, then you'll get a mail. From that, if it crossed 90%, again you'll get a mail. Okay, whenever it crossed this $10 also, you'll get a mail saying that okay, your services are charging you, so that have a look in your billing dashboard and automate your billing or services. So here you can create a budget types. Okay, so here if you see, as it is a new account, we cannot see anything here. So if you have any payment information, it will show here. It will give us, it says like 4 active services are using your in your AWS management console, and it will say here. So here we used some data transfer while using S3 service, right? So in our S3 class, we have created a particular EC2 buckets, and we have opened some, like we have put some objects and get some objects from the S3 bucket. Okay, so for that simple storage service, we are being charged here. Okay, and the data transfer which we have done, we are being charging here for the S3 bucket. So we are charging here. So there is, as we are in a free tier eligible, so there is no charge here. So we have also created a simple queue service yesterday. So there we have created that created it. So that was also came into my billing dashboard, but as it is also comes under free tier. Okay, so we have like 1 million of requests free per month. So we have used only 116 requests. So they are not charging us anyway. So if you are charging it anyway, you can see it here, and you can go to that particular service and you can stop it there. Okay. So this is about the billing dashboard. So just go through this also. So no worries. You can go through it and you can see. And so that's it. If you can see all your billing information in your billing dashboard. And this billing dashboard is only available for the root user only. So if you want to allow this billing dashboard to the other people also, you can do this by allowing some options here. So as of now, we don't need that. Okay, so this is just to understand that we won't be getting any of this billing related things in our exams. So we won't get any single question from this billing related information in our exam. This is just to understand, and if you are costing anything, you can see here. So this is just for your knowledge. Okay. So tomorrow we'll be seeing some more about EC2 instance. Mostly this week we'll be going with EC2 instance only because this is one of the biggest concept, and other concept we'll can close it in 1 or 2 days, but EC2 we need to spend some time because we'll get a lot of questions from this, and there are a lot of options in EC2. So try to create your own instance. Okay, so here see we can, so here the running instances are 0. So if I open this, so there are no running instances, so it is stopped. And if I go to any other region now, so I'm changing my region to US and US East. So here see I cannot see any instances here. I cannot see my key pairs here. I cannot see my security groups here. So this is the default security group. This is not the security group which we have created, and we cannot see our volumes here which we have created. Okay, so all these options in the EC2, they are region specific. So if you create a EC2 instance or EC2 security group or load balancers or these key pairs, so those will be available only in that particular region. So whenever if you haven't seen or if you didn't found the services or the instances which you have created, so that means you are not in the correct region. You need to select the correct region, and then you will get all your EC2 related services. Okay, fine. That's it for today. We'll be closing for today, and tomorrow we'll be coming up with some other concept in EC2. Hope you got understood it. So if you have any doubts, you can ask me, or else we'll disconnect and we'll join again tomorrow.